How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to Rangers Rundown. It has been another 10 games of the season. We are one game away from officially being halfway through the regular season, so let's talk about these last 10 games, games 31 through 40 of this season. It started off at Florida with a loss, 4-3, but then we had that really exciting shootout victory against the Tampa Bay Lightning on New Year's Eve. Followed 2 days later by the Tampa Bay Lightning visiting Madison Square Garden and getting shut out 4-0 for another win. Then Edmonton comes to town. We get another win, 4-1. Then we have that 5-game road trip starting off in Vegas where the Rangers get pretty worked on. That was a loss, 5-1. Not a great game. Short-term memory on that one. Then they go into Anaheim and they win pretty soundly 4-1 against the Ducks. After that, they move into LA where they lose 3-1. Then they go to San Jose where they get another shutout, 3-0 with a win against the San Jose Sharks. They end that road trip in Philadelphia with a win 3-2. And of course, we have the game last night against Toronto where they won 6-3. Embarrassing the Toronto Maple Leafs, who have been losing leads pretty frequently as of late. So over the last 10 games, Rangers have gone 7-3-0 for a total record so far this season of 26-10-4, getting them on top of the Metropolitan Division in first place. If you said halfway through this season the Rangers would be first in the Metropolitan, I would think you were crazy. Before this season started, I think most of the fan base probably figured the Rangers would be fifth, maybe fighting for fourth. They are first in the division, 2 points ahead of the Hurricanes, who do have 4 games in hand, but the Rangers' next game is in Carolina, so they have a chance to further push themselves farther away from the Hurricanes. Now, I don't expect the Rangers to finish first in the Metropolitan at the end of the season. More realistically, they'll be third, maybe second if they continue to put up 7-3-0, 10-game chunks. But realistically, I would think the Rangers finish third. It's hard to deny that the Capitals and the Penguins are very good teams, both teams capable of going on runs. Pittsburgh just went on a 10-game win streak, so now that Malkin's back, you can't say they can't do that again. But Rangers are very comfortably going into the playoffs this season. The next 10 games for the Rangers starts tomorrow night in Carolina. Then the next day they come back home and they play the Arizona Coyotes, a game which I will be attending. Very excited for that. 2 days later, the LA Kings come to town for a rematch against that for that 3-1 loss that the Rangers suffered in California. Then on the 27th, they're at Columbus, hopefully a game that they can win since Columbus is just under 500, so hopefully that's a team they can beat. Then on the 28th, we have the retiring of Lundqvist's number when Minnesota comes to town. So if you have the time before that game starts, the Minnesota game, be sure to tune in so you can watch the number retirement ceremony for Lundqvist. It'll be a fun one. 2 days later, Seattle comes to town. I will also be at that game. So actually, 4 of the next 10 games I will be attending. It's going to be a lot of trips down to New York, but it's going to be very exciting. So I will be there when the Seattle Kraken come to Madison Square Garden for the first time in their franchise history. Then the 1st of February, Florida comes to town for another rematch against that 4-3 loss they had. Then they get a 14-day break, 2 weeks. So whatever problems the Rangers think they have 2 weeks to figure it out between the Florida game and the rescheduled Boston game. Now, this Boston game on the 15th of February, that is the game that was supposed to be on the 24th of April. But because the NHL had to do a lot of shifting for all of the rescheduled games, that Boston game gets moved up 2 months and gets thrown into that Olympic break now that the NHL isn't going to the Olympics anymore. So that 15th game against Boston is the rescheduled one from April. Then 2 days later, we have the Detroit game that got postponed back in December. That was rescheduled to the 17th of February. And then the 20th of February is at the Ottawa Senators. So over these next 10 games, let's take a look. Carolina, Carolina's a great team. The standings would tell you that the Rangers should win that game, but Carolina has a fantastic penalty kill, and they know how to score. So we'll see. Look for D'Angelo to score a goal against the Rangers in that game, because it's definitely going to happen. So that game, I'll be hesitant, and I'll say the Rangers lose. So I'll say they lose tomorrow, just to be a little pessimistic. They should beat the Coyotes, so that's 1-1. When the Kings come in, they should be able to beat the Kings, so that's 2-1. Columbus, they should be able to beat, so that's 3-1. Minnesota, I think between Minnesota and Carolina, I'll say they lose one in regulation, they lose one in overtime. So 5 games in, I'll say they're 3-1-1. I'll say they're 3-1-1 so far. Seattle, they should beat, so 4-1-1. Florida, I'll just give them a loss, so 4-2-1. Boston, they handled pretty well last time they met, so we'll say they beat Boston. So what is that now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5-2-1. And then they should be able to beat Detroit and Ottawa. So by the end of these next 10 games, the Rangers should be able to put together another 7 wins, maybe a loss in overtime for another 14 or 15 points in the standings. So I'll project the Rangers go 7-2-1, 7-3-0 over these next 10 games. They do have that nice long break to get ready for Boston. I think the Rangers can keep pushing the way that they are. A lot more talk about deadline acquisitions for this team. What pieces do they need? What pieces do we think they're going to go for? I've heard Jacob Chikrin's name thrown out a lot, the defenseman from Arizona. We'll see him on the 22nd, so we'll be able to do a little fan scouting of him. We've also heard Phil Kessel's name thrown around, who's also in Arizona. Maybe Arizona sends us both Kessel and Chikrin for a whole big package, because our prospect pool is pretty deep. So maybe a 2-player package comes over from Arizona. You never know. Maybe Hurdle is a loaner just for the rest of the season in the playoffs from San Jose. I've heard Giroux's name get thrown around from Philadelphia. Until it happens, we'll never know for sure, but keep your ears perked open for that. Getting into player stats, Shesterkin, up until this point in the season, 18-4-2, a 208 goals against and a 938 save percentage. 938 is, before last night's game, he was first in the entire league in save percentage. I'm not sure if he still is, but if not, he's second. He might still be first, though. He is an elite goaltender, and he is very comfortably in the Vezina race against Jack Campbell, who got murdered last night. So, you never know. Georgiev, 7-5-2 on the season, so he's putting up respectable numbers as a backup. I know this fan base is very split on him, but he's gotten the Rangers 7 wins. In 7 wins, that's 14 points. And in a very close division like this, those are very helpful points. 271 goals against, 908 save percentage. So again, middling for the league, but could be worse. Fox, in 40 games, 7 goals, 35 assists, 42 points, and a +16. He is second in the league, I believe, for scoring defenseman, only behind Victor Hedman. Roman Josi is right behind Fox as well, so he's pushing for 2 Norris trophies in a row. Panarin, 35 games, 10 goals, 30 assists, 40 points. He's a +3. He's a superstar, really nothing to say about him. Surprised he didn't get a point in last night's game against Toronto, but he was also trying to get Reeves a hat trick towards the end of the game, so he was doing his duty. Zibanejad, 40 games, 14 goals, 23 assists for 37 points, and he's a +8. Not the goal-scoring streak we would have liked to see from Zibanejad, but he is very comfortably racking up points. 37 points in 40 games, you're going to take that every year. Kreider, 40 games, 25 goals to lead the team. 11 assists for 36 points, and he's a +7. So Kreider also almost a point a game, 25 goals. He is on pace for 50 goals this season, a plateau that has not been reached for the Rangers franchise since Jaromir Jagr. Strome, 36 games, 9 goals, 21 assists, 30 points. 21 assists so far this season for Strome. He's quietly becoming the second line center that the Rangers were trying to trade him for. He's just the contract that they give Strome next. He's going to ask for a lot of money, and should he get it? That's really for us to decide. He's probably going to ask for more money than the Rangers are comfortable giving him, so they're going to give him more years. And that's going to split the fan base in half. I would like to see Strome still on this team, because if you trade him, who are you going to get for less money that's better than Strome right now in this market to sign long-term? I mean, that's really the question. But he's doing very well, a +2 for him. Trouba, 40 games, 6 goals, 12 assists, 18 points, and he's a +4. Probably the Rangers' most physical defenseman, just game in, game out. He's a heart and soul kind of guy. 18 points, respectable for a defenseman. Gaudreau, 37 games, 7 goals, 10 assists, 17 points, +8. It's a weird contract. You can hate the contract. You can like the contract. It doesn't matter. He is filling in a role. And as long as he stays out of the top 6, I feel more comfortable with him on this team. I know Hunt is still out. There was a bunch of COVID stuff. I think Gaudreau on the 4th line was great. I loved it. Kakko, 36 games, 5 goals, 9 assists, 14 points, and he's a +7. So far, the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the top 8 scorers on the team are all positive for their +-. Not as many points as we would like to see from Kakko at this point in the season. I have trouble talking about Kakko because his defensive game has gotten so much better, and when you grade a player only on points, it's disingenuous to all the other facets of the game. I like Kakko. Should he be producing more? Yes. Should he be on a different line? Probably. I would love to see them switch Kakko and Lafreniere and put Kakko back with Panarin and Strome and get Lafreniere some first-line time, because Lafreniere's a playmaker and Kreider and Zibanejad are both scorers. So I think that would gel a little bit more, but I'm not a coach. Lafreniere, 38 games, 8 goals, 3 assists, 11 points, -1. Not exactly having the season that he would have liked. Again, he's getting all of the opportunities he needs. Could he be in better positions to score? Maybe. Is he a bust? No. It's only because he was drafted 1st overall that he's getting so much heat. Hopefully he gets into his game. It is his 2nd year, so he might be in that sophomore slump. But Hedl, 36 games, 4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points, and he is a 0. Hedl might be one of the players that gets moved in a trade. I don't know. We're getting to a tipping point with Hedl where we've invested so much time in him that it's almost time to make a decision if he's going to be on this team long term. And I haven't thought about it enough to give you a solid answer on how I feel. You could probably convince me either way. If your argument's good enough, I'd have to think about it a little more. Rooney, 37 games, 6 goals, 3 assists, 9 points, +4. I love Rooney on the 4th line. I hope he sticks around. He's a great 4th line player. And he's, 9 points for a 4th liner halfway through a season. That's not bad. He's on pace for, we'll say, 19, 20 points. That's a solid season. Lindgren, 37 games, 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points. He's a +20. He has the highest +- on the team. When Lindgren is on the ice, good things are happening. He's a fantastic balance to Fox, who's going to make those brilliant passes and score those goals, and Lindgren is just going to hang back. He's going to be defensively responsible. He's going to punish people for trying to take the puck away. And there's a reason he's a +20. He's just really good. Reeves, 33 games, 2 goals, both from the Toronto game last night, 6 assists for 8 points, and he's a -4. Reeves could have 0 points through this entire season, and as long as he keeps giving good interviews and hitting people on the ice, the fan base is going to love him. So 8 points is 8 more points than any of us expected from Reeves. He's doing a good job. Hunt, who has been injured 35 games, 5 goals, 4 assists, 7 points. He's a -6. He's another situation where is this another piece that might get moved? Is this going to be his only season with the Rangers? Because once Blais is back and healthy, are the Rangers going to keep him over Hunt? Hunt's another one of those, he's just caught in this weird wibbly-wobbly space where he's just making the best of the time he has because he knows it might not be forever. Miller, 40 games, 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. He's a -1. He's 21 years old. He's going to make mistakes, which he does. He does get embarrassed occasionally from the better players in this league. He's been showing progress throughout his time with the Rangers, though. He's defensively responsible. He's got that long reach. He's good at poke checking. He's good along the boards. He does his job. We don't need him to score a lot of points. Would be nice if he scored some more. But again, he was switched to defenseman, I think, in college. So he hasn't been a defenseman for that long. So he is going to have a productive career. He's just got to keep that upward momentum. Gauthier, 28 games, 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points. He's a -2. I don't want to say I'm souring on Gauthier, but I'm starting to lose my patience with him. He's very new to the league, and he was showing a lot of promise in his ability to just speed down the ice and force himself to the goal. But the kid has like 2 moves. Like he one-hands the puck on goal or he slaps it from the circle without having a really good chance in front of him. So if he doesn't improve throughout the rest of the season, I'm gonna get to that point where I'm pretty sour on Gauthier, and maybe there's somebody internally that we can replace him with. McKegg, 20 games, no goals, but 3 assists for 3 points, and he's a -3. He had a fantastic game last night in Toronto. Again, he's a 4th liner, not even. He's the 13th, 14th forward for this Rangers team. When he's in the lineup, I'm not worried. Should he be in the lineup full-time? Probably not. So good for him for having a good game last night in Toronto. Nemeth, 36 games, no goals, 2 assists, 2 points, -9. He's the Rangers. I mean, with Schneider in the lineup, if he keeps playing well, Nemeth will be the Rangers' 6th defenseman. And, you know, how much can you expect from your 6th defenseman? Are there other players in the system that should be getting time over Nemeth? Probably. And we can have that discussion if you want. Things are going too well for the Rangers to be worried about Nemeth because he's not playing poorly. He's playing. He's not great, but he's not actively hurting this team. And I think until he is actively hurting this team, the Rangers just aren't going to worry about that. There's other things that they're going to focus on. And then, of course, Schneider, I wanted to throw him on the board. He has 3 games, 1 goal, no assists for a point, and he's a +1. He's been playing very well, showing flashes of being as comfortable as some of the veteran guys on the team. He seems very even-keeled on the ice. He knows what to do. He makes responsible plays. And he's doing well. I hope he continues to do well. I hope he stays in the lineup. And if they're going to call somebody up, I hope they replace Nemeth instead of Schneider. This team is in a spot where they can afford to drop a couple games for the sake of developing some of their young defensemen, especially if they don't go out and get Chychrun. Because this defensive core, yeah, it's great this year, but we're going to want to see some progress, and that's going to happen in the bottom pair. So we should start to develop some of these guys. Team stats, 26, 10, and 4 for 56 points, first in the Metro. So over an 82-game schedule, the Rangers are on pace for 112 points. That is phenomenal. That is President's Trophy. You're in the President's Trophy race with 112 points. Are the Rangers going to be the President's Trophy winners? Probably not, because you have teams like Florida and Tampa Bay and Carolina. But the Rangers will probably finish the season in the top, I'll say 6, top 7 of the league. Rangers will finish. Goals for, 117, which is 12th in the league, up from 16th 10 games ago. And goals against, 98, which is 6th in the league, up from 9th. So both of those stats up from 10 games ago. Goals for per game, 2.93, which is still 17th in the league. That hasn't changed. Goals against per game played is 2.45, which is 2nd in the league, up from 5th. So in the NHL, the team that gets scored on the least, the Rangers are right behind them. They're right there pushing for it. Power play, 22.8%, which is 10th, down from 6th. The power play has struggled over the past couple games, but they're still top 10 in the league. Penalty kill, 85.2%, which is 3rd, up from 6th. They say your special teams are good if you combine these two numbers and it's 100 or better. If you combine these two numbers, what is it? 108? So Rangers special teams are very comfortably cruising, both being top 10. Shots on goal per game, 28.4, which is 29th in the league, down from 27th. So the Rangers are winning games not because they're out shooting their opponents. They're just not letting in that many goals. Is that sustainable? They've shown that it is, but history and statistics would tell you that over an 82-game schedule, that is going to bite the Rangers in the butt. Shots against per game played, 31.9, which is 18th, which is up from 19th. The Rangers are letting up way more shots than they're shooting, but Shesterkin is in net, so they can afford to do that. Faceoffs, 47.7%, which is 26th in the league, up from 27th. Rangers faceoff is going to be awful all year, but it really doesn't matter because they're top 5, top 6 in the league right now with a 47.7% in the faceoff dot. I think they're fine. So this team, I thought they would go 5-4-1 over these past 10 games, and they proved me wrong, and they went 7-3-0. Tomorrow, after Carolina, it will be the official halfway point of the season. Maybe they're 27-10-4 for 58 points halfway through the season. But we'll see. They are away in Carolina. We'll see. Let's see. How many former Rangers are on the Carolina Hurricanes? Let's see. Maybe Brady Shea scores a goal. D'Angelo's probably going to score a goal. Maybe Derek Stepan. Maybe Jesper Fast. There's 4 or 5 Rangers on the Hurricanes, and at least one of them has to score a goal. So if you're a gambling person, probably bet on a former Rangers player to score tomorrow night in Carolina. But we'll see how the next 10 games go. It should be pretty similar. They should be able to rack up another 7 wins over these next 10 games, get us through. They only have 10 games over the next month. So the schedule kind of loosens up a little bit with that partial Olympic break in there. They have to rest and recuperate before they take on Boston, Detroit, Ottawa. And then after the next 10 games, we're really just waiting for the playoffs. And it's going to be really exciting, and I can't wait for that to happen. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next rundown.